This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you?
Boring. 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 Boring.
You got it. Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that. Remember what you're doing. You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel.
I call again for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza, the return of the sausages, the hostages.
Welcome to another edition of Lembit Öpik Live here on Unprecedented TV, where we find the facts, kill the spin, and tell it like it is as best we can. Facts and opinions for you, but never the twain shall meet. We trust you to be smart enough to think for yourself, which is more than can be said for some of the mainstream media, which wants to do the thinking for you. Welcome home if you want to think for yourself. And, of course, we welcome your feedback and your views. So do get involved in the conversation on X and tell us if there are shows that you think we should make. No views are censored here, even if you disagree with what you're hearing. Most importantly, of course, Unprecedented TV goes from strength to strength if you share what we've got here. And please subscribe on the YouTube channel as well. That's getting bigger all the time, and that helps us get more shows done for a number of different reasons. Don't forget also, we have a wide array of different programs. We're not a podcast, we're an online TV station. We've got Dire Consequences with Claire Dyer, Tim Scott Uncancelled with the head of the Freedom Association, Tim Scott himself, Live and Let Die with my old friend and sparring partner, Marco, and so many other programs as well. Won't advertise them all now. But today we're focusing here on Lembit Öpik Live on an ongoing story, which we started on recently, and it keeps developing. Indeed, it's moving so fast that by the time we get to next week, we may have to do another update. The reality is that in a place called West Drayton, which is quite near Heathrow Airport, just outside London, there's been an awful lot of trouble. The locals are complaining. Why? Because their children, young girls, and mums are being molested by illegal immigrants. Why do we know they're illegal? Because they turn up on boats, and by definition, the first act that they commit when they set foot in this land is to break the law, because they've thrown their papers in the sea. They've given their passports to the fish. And what do they get in return? They get to stay in rather posh hotels. These hotels are the sort of place where when I was working for a big company, used to stay for, in today's money, a couple of £100 a night. But they get to stay there at your expense. Some of the 4 big hotels there, most notably the Holiday Inn, a huge structure. Anyone who's driven along the M25 or the M4 will have seen it on the corner where Heathrow Airport is. They're packed with migrants. This is making a difference because thousands of these individuals have caused what you might call an influx into the area, and that's what's causing the disturbance. If you've got a building as big as this full of migrants, then you've got a problem. And what do they do all day? Well, they're not working by definition. They're not supposed to. Of course, some of them are. Instead, they fill their days spending your using phones that you've paid for, eating your food, and watching the small children in places like Cherry Lane Primary School in West Drayton going in and out of the building. Now, this has obviously caused a lot of disturbance, a lot of unhappiness with the local people, as well it might. And some of them have stepped up and said, we're not having this anymore. What would you do if you were concerned about, say, your 12-year-old daughter going to school, or your 8-year-old, where the migrants are literally standing on various objects to get a glimpse of the children at play in the playground? Not making all this up, we'll find out in a minute the extent of the problem. But local people have taken it into their own hands to say, we're not going to have this anymore. There's been an increasing, and in my view, increasingly organized fight back by the local people, not literally fighting, but standing up for their rights. As a result, we've befriended someone called James Timms. He's a local activist. And it's a big thanks to Marilyn Hawes, who's a great friend of Unprecedented TV and will soon be having her own show. She doesn't even know that herself yet, who's actually got us involved with this individual. So what is going on? What's happening? Well, here's the man himself. There's James Timms again. Welcome back, James. It was recently we were speaking, and judging by some of the videos I've seen since last time, things are hotting up.
Yeah, we had a good turnout last weekend for the protest, family protest that we had. We had people turn up with their children. Thankfully, we had some media coverage as well. We also had a few YouTubers turn up to televise the event, which was absolutely fantastic. We couldn't have asked for anything better, to be honest. You know, everybody turned up and showed their support 100% and 100 times over. So, you know, we really do need to raise the awareness that, you know, something has to change for our kids. You know, as you can see here in this photo, we had the banner carried by the children throughout the whole march. So we started off at the local pub. We then stopped off along the way by Cherry Lane School. So local residents and people that were even from out of the area could actually come and see where it was that we're talking about, and where the school is and where the hotels are and how it's affecting the local community. Which I thought was absolutely fantastic. You know, everybody showed their support. There was no violence, there was no shouting, there was no arguing or shunting with the police. You know, the police worked fantastically with us for the whole event. And, you know, I don't think we had as many numbers as what we were hoping, but, you know, I think that there was a stained look due to obviously people are uprising within their own areas, you know, and I think obviously due to a lot of the Antifas and a lot of other people's stained judgments, you know, I think people were expecting there to be violence or expecting altercations with the police, but it couldn't have gone any better, because now people are going to see that we're not about that. We're not about dividing communities. We're about bringing communities together and standing up and saying we're not going to allow these undocumented men to walk the streets, leer at our children through fences, gates, sitting on the streets, drinking, spitting, groping local women as well. You know, enough is enough, and we need to get it out there that something has now to be done. Let's
start, for those who may not be familiar with the problem, with that problem. We've got these huge hotels like the Holiday Inn. If we can get the Holiday Inn up again, that would be great. The Holiday Inn, massive hotels I've stayed in, actually. Last time I was in there was with my late mother, actually. It's a very good hotel. Packed with beautiful migrants.
Yeah, it's we've caught wind over the last couple of weeks locally throughout the community that they've now actually opened half of the hotel. I think I did explain this last time, that they've actually opened half of the hotel to members of the public. For what reason, I can't comprehend. Why would you want to go and stay at a hotel where you've got completely undocumented people staying in rooms above yourself, below yourself, and surrounded either side as well? You know, it's crazy. You know, you're opening your doors and you're telling people, yes, it's safe to come in, when well and truly it's not.
People, we don't even know who they are. I would not take my children to a hotel that's full of people who are here illegally by definition. If they've landed on a boat without documents, they could be rapists, they could be murderers. I have no idea. The whole point, one of the crucial things I think about a hotel in this country and abroad is that you feel safe. But they've actually imported the problem to inside the hotel.
Yeah. I mean, even in the local community, one of my colleagues from my event group and myself, we went to a local community centre, and they have safeguarding paperwork on the walls, obviously, you know, in regards to when people turn up with their kids there, to find that it was 8 years out of date. Now, I did actually manage to discreetly get a photo of this, but, you know, they've got a school outside the premises, and it's within, I'd say, probably about a 10-minute walk from the hotel. So they're having to pass the school, past these parks, to get to these community centres where they're being provided with all the etiquette, so clothes, money vouchers, stuff like that, you know, so they can go and have nice luxuries, you know, at our expense. And, you know, where is it going to end? You know, they've been arriving by coach probably over the last 7 to 8 weeks, and the amount that are turning up is phenomenal. I mean, we're talking around about 6 coaches probably every 2 weeks, I would say 2 to 3 weeks, you know, and it's just where is it going to end? It's just getting so out of hand.
Now, just so that we're not just picking on Holiday Inn, Mercure Hotel is another one. These are fantastic hotels. These are top flight airport hotels, the kind of place that will charge, you know, well over £100 a night, and a couple of £100, maybe even more, and they're being occupied by illegal migrants. And no hotel, and I think what the fourth one is Crown Plaza, isn't it?
The Crown Plaza. That's where they seem to be arriving and being dropped off at that hotel there. You know, and it is crazy. I mean, we've had local residents that have boosted one another onto their shoulders, because you can hear the loud shouting, and you can hear that there's commotion going on. So then we've had residents that have actually, like I say, boosted one another up, and you can actually see them arriving, getting off the coaches and being handed bags with clothes, and, you know, signing off the bits of paper, and off they go. You know, that's it. Welcome, and you need everything you need.
So is that stuff around the side to stop you from getting in?
Yeah.
To protect the...
Well, to keep us out, and obviously to keep them safe, I should imagine, to stop, you know, the communities from, you know, speaking up and actually having a voice.
But they're allowed out, aren't they? They don't get detained there, do they?
Oh no, of course no. They're allowed to come and go as they please.
Right. So the story so far, then, you've got at least 4 hotels with huge amount of migrants. How many migrants would you say are being housed in those hotels?
I mean, I believe that the Holiday Inn is around about 2,000 rooms, just the Holiday Inn alone. So if we go on ballpark figures, I mean, we're looking at, if they've opened half to the public, at least 1,000 just in the Holiday Inn alone. So I mean, if we were to combine the Mercure plus the Crown Plaza and the Novotel, I mean, we'd probably be looking in the region of about 2,000, if not more. And that wouldn't be including the local HMOs that they've been distributed to from the hotels.
HMOs, houses of multiple occupancy, which is even harder because they're completely embedded in the community. Are those causing trouble too?
Yeah, I mean, I've got friends over in Sipson, which is another area just around the corner from West Drayton. And we have seen between 2 and sort of 20 of them hanging around the local Sipson Park, where unfortunately they on a Saturday morning they actually have the weekend football going on for all of the children going up to sort of the age of around about 15, 16. So it is a shame, because it kind of reminds me of like a hydra. You know, you cut off one head and 2 seem to come back. You cut off the 2, then 4 seem to come back. So that it constantly seems like we fight from one area, and then we have to pull ranks and then try and raise our voices, you know, in regards to them now moving on to other areas as well. So, you know, people can see this isn't just affecting Hillingdon and West Drayton. The problem is spreading throughout the country, and we need everybody to wake up and make all our voices heard. We really have to.
I'll bring our other guests in a moment, but the school that's heart of this is this one, Cherry Lane School.
That's correct.
What age are the children there? The children are being ogled at and receiving the unwelcome attention of these migrants.
Well, I mean, they do have the preschool nursery department there. So, I mean, we'd be looking at children from sort of the age of 4, I believe, going up to year 6, which would be around about 10, 11, maybe 12 years old. And it's such a shame.
And the migrants are literally ogling the children and make
Yeah,
the
I mean,
process for them.
where this picture is taken, just to the right hand side of the gate is about a 2-minute walk to where the underpass, the subway is that leads out to the Novotel Hotel. So this is the first point of call for the illegal migrants when they come out of the underpass and they walk past the whole of the school.
Unbelievable. Let's get Marilyn Hawes to join us now. Marilyn, good to see you.
Hello.
Tell us a little bit about you, for those who don't know you.
Oh, so I have a charity called Freedom, and it is to the aim is to prevent abuse, to raise awareness of what to look for in plain sight, because that is what's clearly happening in Hillingdon. My 3 children abused by 4 children abused by I worked. And a bit like what James and his team are doing, but I did it on my own. He walked free from court, having said he was guilty. And I thought, I don't think so. You don't know who you're taking on. I think what James has done is the same as I did. There are bystanders and there's upstanders. And the people in Drayton, West Drayton, and like Jamie, they are upstanders. I will not stand by and see children harmed. I mean, it's the worst thing that can happen to a child. And I had the honor of speaking at the event. And I did a drop down box, if you like, of what happens when there's one victim of abuse and how that how that comes down like a waterfall, how many people are involved in that person's life now. And I'm a big fan of visual learning. So that sort of, I think, helped. I understand, but it was extraordinary, the number of people that were there. It was lovely to see dads, and I'm happy to help James and the group, because it's so unusual to see such a positive resilience to stand up to these people. It really is, and I'm hoping that they're going to get the MP involved. They need a meeting with the MP and just stick these videos in their face and say, right, what are you going to do about it? And it was a peaceful demonstration, and I think people are so sort of put off by. I mean, I'm terrified of going into London at the moment with the pro-Palestinian marches or whatever march, because it gets out of control. But this situation is out of control. You see, this is why whatever I can do to bring this to the forefront. I'm happy to do that and give my time to do it, because it's important, because it's not just West Hillingdon, it's everywhere. And all these human rights lawyers, I mean, they can go and do one, quite frankly. I mean, we have human rights. The children have human rights. You know, children in our country, you ask UNICEF will tell you that it's a child's right to be able to stay free from harm. And the only people that can help them stay free from harm is adults.
Let's go.
Running this country they're in breach of the child's rights.
Let's go through Let's go through this. This is what I think what you were talking about. Yeah. The flow chart of what happens to the victim. Let's put it into context. Go ahead.
Right. So you've got the victim at the top, one victim. Dropping down from that, the child discloses. Then it infects mum and dad. Then you've got family, siblings, and the friends. And those friends will be at school. So now the school's got involved. And then the family are falling apart, because that's what you do. So the police get involved. And then the child is maybe... it needs a swab taken or whatever, or maybe there's evidence. So now you're getting the doctors involved, and then the police and the doctors, the court comes involved, and the child gets problems with anxiety, depression, mental health. Maybe later on in life that becomes addictions of some description. And the sad part in all of this is, if that person is then going to walk free on a suspended sentence, which is what happened to the guy. In my case, he was just, he said he wasn't. He said he was guilty, and he literally had a suspended sentence. That was it, and a £200 fine. And it did impact my mental health. It does, because you're so frustrated. And so 1 in 10 people who have been a victim of a child abuse, 1 in 10 attempt suicide, and 1 in 12 of those who attempt it will actually succeed. So you're looking at people like Robbie Hatton. I mean, there's quite a few people you see in celebrities that do take their life, and it's so very, very sad. But that's
James.
you know, that's, and you think there's 100 children. How the cost to the country because they're not preventing the harm is extraordinary.
James, this is the process that could be happening in your community.
Yeah. And Marilyn, God bless her. She showed this this diagram when she did us the favour of actually speaking at our march, and the feedback that I got from parents as we were as the speech came to an end, and feedback long after as well, was just phenomenal. You know, people completely and utterly relating to this information. You know, and it's like I said before. You know, it's a shame that at the moment, and with the way that the country is going, thanks to Marilyn, this visual here, you know, this is the sort of thing that our children and residents are having to try and normalize, this whole sort of procedure, which shouldn't be happening, full stop.
But I also think the school should have been much more upstanding. That's what I'm, you know, as being an educator and a former deputy head, I'm cross at the I mean, they didn't. I mean, Talk TV phoned Kevin O'Sullivan, phoned the school to see what their comments was. They didn't get back to him. Well, that's not sensible. You don't ignore media, because if you ignore media and they're trying to find out the other side of the argument, you're just going to make yourself a victim, because what does it tell people? Oh, the school didn't respond. Well, that tells people an awful lot about their unwillingness to actually protect the children that are right on the doorstep of these migrants. I mean, why on earth, and I said it last time, why on earth didn't that deputy head or head teacher, a big school, three class intake, 600 odd kids, why didn't she galvanize a few dads, not just James, who did it on his own bat, say, come and have some help here? I mean, the quote's going to be astronomical. Can we all get together? Can we go down, use your, think outside the box? Can a hardware store, could someone like B&Q just give us something to put the mesh back as a favour? Do you know what I mean? There are all sorts of things you can do if you think outside the box, and I don't think that head teacher was capable of it. And then, on top of that, I actually went on the website, and I was horrified that I saw children's full faces who are pupils, which no school should do. I said to Jamie, and I said to the parents, I spent no more than a minute cutting and pasting these photographs and put it on an email to James. Yeah. And if I can do it, imagine who else can do it.
It's tragic we live in a society where we have to think about this.
I know.
That wasn't the world I grew up in. In the 1970s, when I was at primary school, this would have been not even a consideration. You wouldn't have thought, I must have been going on to some extent, but you wouldn't have thought that it would be this blatant and this pervasive. And certainly I can promise you this, James Marilyn, when I was growing up, you did not have hordes of illegal migrants hanging around in 4- and 5-star hotels, ogling the children.
I mean, I remember as a child, you know, when the street lamps came on in the evening, myself and my friends, we knew, right, that's it, we got 10 minutes, it's dinner time, you know, so we get ourselves together, you know, and I could just walk through my back gate, straight through my back door, because we didn't have that fear that, you know, God, someone could be come walking in, or someone could be doing this, someone, you know, people that shouldn't be in this country, completely undocumented, and free will to be violent and exact whatever they want to on anybody. Do you know what I mean? And the worst thing it being is the children. Do you know what I mean? I mean, this is the future of our country, and you know, somebody has to turn around and say, right, no, we're putting our foot down and we're going to stand up and we're going to actually make ourselves heard.
Yeah, it doesn't need an army. You just need, you know, this is what I so admire see all those people there Saturday. You know, they had the will, the determination, the resilience, and the absolute passion. And it's passion that drives, you know, people are so laid back and leave it to somebody else, You can't leave it to somebody else. And it doesn't take an army. It just takes a few people who have got the balls, quite frankly, and the spine to put their head above the parapet. And even if you take the knockbacks, I don't give a monkeys who tries to knock me back, because I'll come back at them. Because I know, I don't feel I'm right about many things, but I know I'm right if we are talking about protection of harm from children.
Yeah.
I know I'm right. 120% I'm right. And if anybody wants to take me on, feel free, because I will rebuild them.
And poignantly, we see Keir Starmer there, who's been absolutely singularly unable to show the fortitude to stop hordes of illegal migrants crossing the channel. He thinks he can protect Ukraine. He can't even protect the English Channel. After the break, I want to talk about what should be happening in terms of all this. Fundamentally, you had a celebrity guest, really. I will talk about him. We've got some videos which I want you, James, to tell us about as well, and then look at solutions as well. Before we do that, one of my personal favourite shows, I declare an interest. I'm in it. Live and Let Die with Mark Oaten, former Lib Dem MP, with a colourful past. I think he's become a conservative, really. He thinks I've become some sort of an extreme liberal, but it makes for good TV. Yes, you've got to be watching that regularly going out. We quite enjoy doing it, arguing old scores we've been fighting about for almost 3 decades, but returning. Yeah, and I'm right, by the way. Mark's not here to defend himself. So unlike a reasonable person, I'll take the opportunity to say he's wrong, I'm right. But that's another story. I'm in charge. Yeah, I am the boss. So you'll have to like it or lump it there. A little bit better. My tiny piece of empowerment, guys. Tiny little piece of empowerment there. Let's return to our guests here. It's Marilyn Hawes and Chief Executive of Freedom from Abuse, and James Timms, who's a angry West Drayton resident. Now, and we're talking about the problem of essentially abuse. That's what we're talking about here. Harassment and abuse, particularly of women and girls in your community, and at the centre of it, a primary school. Now, you had a bit of a celebrity guest, didn't you? And that's not a celebrity guest. Oh, yes, one quick question about this. Those suicide figures, are you literally saying 10% of victims of abuse try to kill themselves?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Yes, that's right. That's right. That's from the Institute of Health, and the sad fact is 1 in 12 actually succeed. And if you look at it, whenever I see someone who's taken their own life, then I think, hang on, let's go back. Where's the root to this? What's happened? And there's always something that has happened that's created it. And I mean, and suicide it's the biggest killer of men in their 40s. And I mean, and I just wish more men would actually speak out. And there's a thing about, it's not masculine to say, but they're the victims of, men in domestic abuse, where there are some really vile women out there and they don't speak out. And I am always saying, speak to me, pick the phone up, speak to me, because if they don't, and they take that into their 40s, whatever, the risk is, it's so sad about the number of men. You always think it's women. I mean, I know what it's like to look down that dark pit. I tried to take my own life, and people think, you're being selfish. But I tried to take it because I thought, oh my God, I married the wrong man. That was 19 years of domestic abuse. Then I picked up by this blooming paedophile, and then he abuses me, really. And so it goes on. And I thought, I just can't cope with this anymore. I just can't. And then he walks free from court. And I thought, all right, I can fight it. But after I fought it and all of that, then I went down this dark pit of what the hell has happened. And I just felt by taking my own life, I was doing everybody a favour, because I felt I'd made so many awful decisions that it impacted my 4 children, and that I had failed as a deputy head to help other children because I didn't know what was going on, because we didn't know what grooming was. And, now I do. And now there is no excuse for parents to ignore it, but they do. It's the elephant in the room. Nobody wants to think it's going to happen to their children. And as you're saying it, it could be happening to your own, And now we've got the problem with the online stuff, and the online stuff we can thank Mark Zuckerberg for, because he was the person that invented Facebook. And that's where it all began, the perfect storm. And then again, you've got parents that, I've offered James' parents, it's my gift to them. I've offered them a free course on online and offline harm, and especially you need to do it now because they've got these migrants living up the road. You absolutely need to be aware of how these people work.
I want to go into that with a whole set of programs with you, Marilyn, because I really want to throw open the doors and destigmatize talking about abuse. And as you've just said, abuse isn't gender specific.
No,
it's not about gender, it's about mindset. And I hate the fact that we've got a government so thick-headed, so stupid, so sexist that it also talks about, oh, let's stop violence against women and girls. No, I want to stop violence against people. But we better not go down too far that path, because I want to get back to James here, and I want to talk about maybe a slightly better news story, and that's the fact that you've got you had a bit of a famous guest.
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. I mean, he turned up, I believe it was about half an hour after Marilyn's speech, and we still had a few people turning up even prior to him arriving. But the minute he turned up with his wife as well.
Who is he? Who is he? What's he do?
Harman Kapoor, I believe his name is. I didn't really know too much about him before until I actually started fixing up the fencing on Cherry Lane School. But how fantastic this gentleman is! He is so for the community. He is so for this country. You know, this is the prime example of, you know, people that are coming in and contributing towards the community, and not even doing that, going above and beyond. You know, it's not difficult. You know, if I was to go over to some of these countries and trying to exact British law and, you know, trying to show them this is how we do it in my country, so this is how we're going to do it here, the first thing they would do is throw me in jail, without a doubt. And then all of a sudden, before you know it, James Timms, who's James Timms, that would have just been forgotten about. So for somebody like this to come, not only on his own, but with his wife, to show his support, you know, and to show solidarity, it was just absolutely amazing.
James, who is he? Who is he? Sorry, who is he? What is he? Is he a mayor? What is he? Who is he?
Sorry, Lembit.
I'll just say, he's a man who embraces Britishness and has been persecuted by his own community for it.
No.
In a pretty bad way, yeah. It's extraordinary.
That's outrageous.
Yeah, he has a profanely bad opinion of Keir Starmer as well. He shocked me with his choice of language, which incidentally, James, I noticed on one of the pictures you sent me. I don't want to repeat it though, because we do have children watching. So Harman Kapoor has basically said what my family said: embrace a culture that embraces you. My family's
exactly right.
From abroad as well, and he's very, very charismatic fellow actually, and good for him for being there.
Wow!
I mean,
did you know you'd invited him, or did he just get to hear about it?
No, I believe that he heard about it through handing our leaflets out, you know, and getting the voice out there about our protest. And going back, Lembit, to what you said about the schools, I actually had a parent approach me while we were waiting for numbers to turn up for the march. Now, her daughter is a student at Harlington Community School, which is just literally a stone throw from the Mercure Hotel. To find out from herself, because her daughter attended the previous marches that we've had, that she has now been subject to abuse from other students within the school, and that she's even been, I say, by the teachers. Well, yeah, basically by the teachers as well, being called racist for standing up in for what she believes. So, you know, that the mum has now stopped the child from going to school because she doesn't believe that her daughter should have to put up with abuse like that. You know, we're talking about an 8-year-old, 9-year-old child.
You've got so many teachers that are woke. They really are. You've only got to look what goes on in universities. You don't, you know, there's some universities now, some of the students are, you know, getting together to support Hamas, right? And, you know, this wokeness, it's so much of it in the schools now. It's dreadful. This sort of Gen Z, they Gen Z people, whatever they're called, I don't know, they got no common sense. But even right down to transgender, I mean, they're teaching children of 5 years old. If you think your name's John today, there's a little toilet for you, Mary, but we're not going to tell mummy and daddy. That is outrageous, and it is going on. And the parents aren't allowed. You wouldn't be allowed to go in and see what your children are being taught, like sex education, because transgender is in that. My God's sake, they need to be learning to read and write and be damn well sent. I'm always getting me angry this on a Monday morning. I mean, they need to be learning to read and write and be sociable and kind people. It's confusing. I actually think it is child abuse to actually distort children's minds like this with trans.
I don't want to go down that path too much today. I do want to do it with
but
you,
know
Marilyn.
what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm completely with you. But the fact we return to this so often means we need to do some shows. Actually a series. I want to do a series about abuse, and I want to include this as part of it. As a parent myself, I abhor the idea that my children are going to be told nonsense when, as you say, they should be learning to play, not learning to worry about their gender.
One of the best things that we had. Sorry, Marilyn. One of the best things we had when we turned up at the Holiday Inn, we wanted to make pit stops along the way of the march. So we stopped by Cherry Lane, we stopped by the Holiday Inn, and we stopped by the Crown Plaza and the Novotel Hotel. We didn't intentionally include the Mercure Hotel only purely because we had women and children with us. So we didn't want to push everyone to walk too far, especially when we had an event sorted out to get back to. But one of the things that really, really touched me was after Leah, one of the mums who did a speech outside the Holiday Inn, one of the children, when we got to the Crown Plaza, she then asked if she could come on the microphone to actually speak. And I didn't realize at the time that it was the daughter of the mum in regards to Harlington School, who we just mentioned a second ago. And she came on the microphone. She asked if she could come on the microphone. She did. And she actually explained that because she'd been attending the protests, that, she'd been getting chanted at by other students in the school who are of not British nature, screaming at her, she's racist, you're a thug. We don't accept that in here. You need to go home and stuff like that, and it's just shocking. Absolutely shocking.
Yeah. You may be aware, I guess you probably are aware, James, that Cherry Lane actually had an incident where one of the teachers smuggled, I think, a 14-year-old girl into the United Kingdom to act as a slave. Did you know that?
Yeah. Yes, I did. I found that out yesterday.
Yeah, our researchers came across that.
And for child safety, which I don't know how this even happened at the time, while my daughter was still at the school, I believe she was in year 5 or year 6, they actually had a child involved in an incident which ended up costing the child his life.
Okay, don't go into that's horrendous.
But this goes now. You see, now you said all this. This is why they didn't reply to any media that phoned them up, because the stupid thing is now people like Lembit have found out the truth, and it's going to come back and it's going to rightly bite them in the bum. Because
hopefully it will, and hopefully this is going to be an example for everybody else to see now that
100%. And
this is not going to be accepted.
James, you need to use that. Sorry, I can't remember his name. That gentleman. You need to have him as part of your group.
Armand Kapoor.
Yeah,
exactly, because he will like spread it out even more, and it will become a movement. So you want to use these people, use me. You want to use people like him that have got contacts. I've got lots of contacts. I know Lembit well. That's how we got on here now. Use people. People have contacts, and it can spread very quickly, and people will. And you've now got a template. You were so intelligently the way you put this together. It really was good. I was so impressed with it. You thought it through from top to bottom. It didn't just happen randomly. It was intelligent, and that's you can't knock that. And that's a template for other people, because they can say, "Hey, James, how did you do it?" And there you are. You've done it.
Yeah.
James, your demonstrations have been pretty well attended, and they're quite intense. They also look pretty well organized. What's your plan the demonstrations are one thing, as you were describing, you've stopped there at Cherry Lane School. What are you going to be doing ongoing to try and keep the momentum up?
Amongst the group of people, myself, as you can see here in this video, the young lady speaking, she's actually part of our group as well, and she's also a mum of 3 and also working full time. What we're thinking now is, now that we can see, or people can see that the way we've organised it, there is no violence, there's no altercations with the police and stuff like that. So we're hoping now to get our permits in place and now go outside the civic centre and actually right outside the housing office and where they've got the adult social care and, just stick it right on them. This is what we're about, and we're not going anywhere.
It's quite a formidable thing to see this coming towards you.
Yeah. And we wanted to make sure that people heard and that people could see that it's not just driven by angry adults or angry parents, that we've got the children there and the children are willing to speak themselves and voice, and to not be afraid shows the bravery of these children that were willing to come to this protest.
Absolutely right. And I think you need to also ramp it up even more. So like demand, go into Portcullis House and demand a meeting with the housing minister. Do you know what I mean? Or, even Shabana Mahmood, whatever she is. I mean, ramp it up now and use your MP and use anyone you can to get in front of these people, to elevate it from a march to something more still, and use your local media as well. I mean, appalling, they didn't you should be in the local Gazette. That should have happened.
James, what are your next steps? We're nearly out of time. What are your next steps?
Next steps is keep going and get as many people on side and try and wake up as many people as we can in the country, and to say, don't be scared to put your voice out there. Don't be scared to show your support for your country and to make your voices heard, because we're all in this together. This is our country. We wouldn't be going anywhere else and trying to impose our rights on anybody else's country. Everybody's country is unique. America has great things about America. England has fantastic things to do with England, and vice versa with all of the other countries around the world. And everybody's unique. You can't start going around to every other country and exacting your own law, your own practices. Otherwise we all become the same, and what a boring place it would be.
But also, I mean, some of these places, Denmark won't have it. Australia, they get sent to another island. And you've got Portugal now and Italy banning the burqa. I mean, we there's so much stuff we wouldn't be able to do or wear in some other countries. I mean, it is just ridiculous what we allow to happen here. It's downright stupid. There's a bunch of numpties running this country. They really are. Honestly, I'm not being funny. I mean, crikey, my dog could do a better job.
I recently described them as cretins, as far as I was trying to go on air. James, thanks very much indeed for coming on, and credit Marilyn again. You're becoming a little bit of a celebrity now.
Thank you for having me back on, and Marilyn, and to both of you, thank you for all the support and for giving us a voice online to get it out there for people to try and support as much as we can.
I was pleased to see that the lamestream media followed our interview and started to give you attention. Well, we're going to carry on doing it.
And just quickly, we've recently had one of our local community mums. She got in touch with, I believe it was one of the ladies that's involved up at the council, and she was talking about starting a pink division for West Drayton. So this mum Amber, she's gone ahead, and they're now starting this to get all the mums behind, and actually just rally up as much support as we can. So fantastic, Amber, carry on doing what you're doing, because all the numbers, all the voices, it all helps to wake the country up.
Thank you, Marilyn. Thank you, James. You've heard it here on Unprecedented TV, and what we've got now, I would say, more than anything else, is we've got a voice. got a voice for people who might have felt a little bit voiceless in the past, but shouldn't feel anymore. Once again, we're going to be here supporting James Timms and West Drayton in any way that we can. You've seen the demonstrations. They're law-abiding citizens feeling that there's a lack of law enforcement in their area, an atmosphere there of menace, of concern, and actual assault of individuals too. 4 great hotels converted as free accommodation to people who broke into this country. If you've got a story that you'd like to share, you let us know. We're always happy to cover it here. But in the meantime, bonne chance for the very pointedly using French there for James Timms, who might want the migrants to go back to where they speak French, and also to Marilyn Hawes, who introduced us in the first place. This is the home of free speech, Unprecedented TV. I'm Lembit Öpik. This was Lembit Öpik Live.
Immediate ceasefire in Gaza, the return of the sausages.